Good morning. Today is August 26, 2017, and I'm in beautiful Inyo National Forest here in California because today I start my hike of the section of the John Muir Trail. Now, I won't actually be on the John Muir Trail until tomorrow. Today, this is my entry point. I'm heading into the backcountry by a Duck Pass trail. I think you should come with me. Let's go. Right now I'm looking down on Barney Lake. I came all the way around that, came in at the far end and traveled around the edges of that lake, and you can see the switchback trail down here that I've been on. And if you look in the distance there at the end, that's Mammoth Mountain. And I was on the summit of that yesterday. And we're going to continue on to Duck Pass, which is up behind me, up there. And there's some dark clouds, but I have plenty of blue sky left, so I should be over that in just a little while. I'm at beautiful Duck Lake. I just came over Duck Pass, just a few hundred feet short of being 11,000 feet. Really nice hike in, and now I'm going to descend down to Duck Lake and find a campground for the night. This is a beautiful spot. It's the morning of day 2. I'm still at Duck Lake. I broke camp and now I'm going to have a little coffee, sit here and enjoy the morning. Beautiful sun starting to warm things up a little bit. I don't know if you can hear it or not, but you can just hear the cascading roar of the outlet from the lake, and I got to listen to that all night. That was really nice. Down there, that mountain range is Silver Divide. If I were going south on the John Muir Trail, I'd be going over that, but today I'm going to be going north. I'm going to go around the shoulder of this mountain right here in front of me to the right, hook around, and then start north. Beautiful night last night. It got kind of cold about 3 in the morning. I got up and I went outside, and oh, the stars were amazing. I have not seen the Milky Way and stars like that in a long time. But it got pretty nippy. I put on my parka and my wool buff, but I was enveloped in downy goodness of my quilt, and I slept really well. Gonna have some coffee, get back on the trail. Well, I've met up with the junction of the John Muir Trail. The trail is going to go down there. But I wanted you to look across the valley here. There's a cascading waterfall. Now that's the Duck Lake outlet. It's where I was last night. I also had the pleasure of listening to that gentle cascading sound all night long in my tent. Now I'm going to descend down to that valley, and I will be crossing that stream, so I should be there in a few minutes. This is the crossing of the Duck Lake outlet, and you have your choice of rocks or a log bridge. I chose rocks, that's what I'm most familiar with. I got across without even a wet foot. I did check my water supply though. I have plenty. I topped off my bottles this morning because the next water source is almost 6 miles away. When I came over Duck Pass yesterday, I crested a range of mountains called the Mammoth Crest. Probably can't see them up there, but there they are. And I'm working my way behind them, and I'm following this valley down here. This is Cascade Valley, Silver Divide mountain range over there. So I'm going to be following along the rim of this valley for quite a while, but I got to get going because today is all about making my miles. Looking down into Cascade Valley, and you can just see the trail all the way down there in the bottom in that green section. That's a long way down. That's a lot of elevation gain to make it up to here. But I didn't have to do that. I came around on the left side here. I skirted the valley. That's what I've been doing for most of the morning.
太无敌了，这360度全景。
So I just came up from Red's Meadow. I did a resupply there and then made sort of a hot, long, dry ascent out of the Devil's Post pile to come to this stream crossing. This is Minaret Stream, and it feeds the falls downstream a little bit. I could hear them roaring. Looks like a wade to me. It's about 6 o'clock in the morning on day 4. I am at one of the lower Trinity lakes. They're very grassy, reedy lakes. There's no running water, but I did wade out last night 4 or 5 steps to get water. It's remarkably clear, and I saw frogs and everything. It's absolutely a very pretty, peaceful sight, and I had one of the best night's sleeps I've had so far. Unlike the camp last night that was very cold and damp, this was another about 1,400 feet in elevation higher, but it was dry and I was warm. It was quiet. I'm the only one here in the campsite, and it was a very peaceful, beautiful evening. So I'm getting ready to pack up, have some breakfast, and get back on the trail. Shadow Lake in the background. I just came all the way around that. And I just crossed this inlet over a bridge, over that waterfall right up there. It's more falls above Shadow Lake. One last look back at Shadow Lake. I've been coming all along this inlet, following it upwards, and it's been just one waterfall after another. Well, it doesn't get much prettier than this, looking back at the high alpine meadow down there, and there's just wildflowers everywhere. And you can see my trail switchbacking there on the left. And I'm coming around here, and I'm almost over the pass, just right up there, to go over to Garnet Lake. That's where I'm headed right now. I'm on the pass crossing from Shadow Lake over to Garnet Lake. And then switchbacks down to Garnet Lake. I keep descending and descending. But boy, this is a pretty place. And back here is Banner Peak and Mount Ritter. Absolutely gorgeous. Here's another view of Garnet Lake as I make my descent down to the outlet. These lakes are so clear. When I stopped at Shadow Lake, I was just looking in the shallows, and a couple of trout came swimming by very peacefully. You could see them so easily. Very clear, cold, crisp water. Gorgeous. Mount Ritter and Banner Peak overlooking Garnet Lake. This is probably my favorite spot so far. I'm pushing on to Ruby Lake to camp tonight after passing by Garnet Lake. And you see there's a little snow on the trail here. And down there is Ruby Lake, and that's where I'm heading. Down here at Ruby Lake, you can see the evening glow. Very pretty, some snow coming right down to the water's edge, and very sheer faces on that mountain over there. But when I got to the area for the campsite, it's closed for plant restoration. So given the sheer nature of the sidewalls, the shore around here, camping is unlikely. So I'm going to push on. This is Emerald Lake, not a good place to camp either because the flat spots down there are marshy and everything else is a jumble of rocks. And we have to be 100 feet away. Just once you look down here, there is a marmot on that rock. He is basking away in the evening sun of Emerald Lake. Not too shabby. I've arrived at Thousand Island Lake. I just need to make my way to the right, across the outlet, and to the other side. And there are definitely campsites over there, so that's where I'm going to head tonight. It's the morning of day 5. I'm just waking up here at Thousand Island Lake. I got in late last night. The sun was pretty low in the sky, and I was told I was the last one to come into camp last night. So did a quick camp setup and got to sleep. But it rained all night long, and it was raining again this morning until about 7 o'clock. So my tent is wet. My gear is damp. Tent kept me dry, but the gear is damp just from all the humidity. So I packed up quickly, and as soon as I get to a sunny spot, I'm going to lay everything out to dry. I had a good hike day yesterday, over 11 miles. Today's going to be a low mileage day. I'm trying to position myself well to go over Donahue Pass tomorrow morning. So I'm going to sit here for a few more minutes, have a bite to eat, and get back on the trail. I just left Thousand Island Lake on my way to Island Pass, and it started raining again, and now it's turned to hail. There's little tiny balls of ice bouncing off these rocks. So I just got to keep moving and stay warm. So this is the view from my tent. I've pitched it. I don't know if you can hear it or not, but there's a lot of thundering going on behind me. It looks fairly hazy, but kind of clear looking forward. But when I turn around and look back to Mount Banner, or Banner Peak, it is really dark, and there's some serious rumbling going on back there. So I am holed up here. These are some beautiful alpine tarns to wander around, but right now I'm just inside my tent and gonna let the storm pass. Today is my 6th day on trail, and this was my camp for the night. I'm down at the Rush Creek crossing. Now, when I last talked to you, I really thought I was staying up at the Alpine Tarns last night. But in the afternoon, those thunderstorms came rolling through, and the high winds, and I just felt a little bit exposed. So in the afternoon, about 3 o'clock, I decided I'd go ahead and descend a little bit. I had plenty of daylight left to get a few more miles in. So I packed up and I descended. But before I could descend, I had to go up over Island Pass. And as soon as I went up and over that, I started having wood ash fall and a strong smell of smoke. So thanks to my wonderful family at home, I got on the Garmin and asked them to check out the conditions. It turns out there was a fire at June Lake, which makes sense because when I came around to the Rush Creek drainage, I looked down the valley and the whole valley was full of smoke. Anyway, I believe that fire's contained. I do smell a little smoke this morning and got a little bit of a headache from it, but it is a beautiful blue sky day, and today I go over Donahue Pass and I leave Inyo National Forest and enter Yosemite. So I'm going to break camp and get on the trail and get up to Donahue. Donahue Pass. looking up towards Donahue Pass, but looking down this beautiful valley, high alpine meadow, the Ansel Adams Wilderness. And remarkably, I just met my first hikers. I have not seen hikers since Island Pass yesterday. So we're all heading to the top of Donahue. Donahue Pass. I just came over Donahue Pass. You can see it right behind me. 11,056 feet. Not the highest on the John Muir Trail, but it's the highest on my trip. So we're saying goodbye to Inyo National Forest and the Ansel Adams Wilderness on the other side of the pass. And we are going to be going into Yosemite National Park. And this area is absolutely stunning. It's 360 degrees of beautiful. Looking down into Lyle Canyon, I can see the Lyle Fork of the Tuolumne River. That's where I'm headed. I'm going to follow that canyon the next day, and by tomorrow evening I should be in Tuolumne Meadows. It's the morning of day 7. I'm down here in Lyle Canyon. I did make it to the floor of the canyon last night before camping. There's Donahue Pass back there. This is what I saw when I was up there. And when I made my descent, this canyon was full of smoke. There's a fire burning to the west of Yosemite, but this morning the winds have changed and just pushed it right back out again. So I'm on my way to Tuolumne Meadows to pick up my resupply. Well, this is the evening of the 7th day, and this is my home for the night. I'm staying one night at the Tuolumne Meadows High Sierra Camp. It's a canvas tent. It's adorable. It has a little bed. There's no electricity or running water, but it has a wood stove and a lantern, and right down the hill, they're going to fix dinner for me. So I think that sounds like a great way to end day 7. Well, it's the morning of my 8th day, September the 2nd. There's Lambert Dome. I really had intended on climbing that this morning, but I really have to keep on schedule, and I decided to just take a walk out here in the meadow to take a look around. And over there is Cathedral Peak, and that's where I'm headed. I'm in the meadow right below Cathedral Peak, and behind me is Lower Cathedral Lake. Now I'm going to go along the shore and find a nice little place to tuck in, and this is where I'm going to spend the night. I took a little walk. I'm all the way down now at the end of Lower Cathedral Lake at the outlet. There's Cathedral Peak. I'm here. And boy, does that drop off. It must be a spectacular waterfall. But all the way in the distance there is Lake Tenaya, and I'm not sure if you can see it. It's very hazy, and that's from the smoke of the wildfires that are burning west of Yosemite, and all that smoke's getting pushed right into the valley. It is 6 o'clock in the morning, day 9, and this is sunrise at Lower Cathedral Lake. Cathedral Pass. I am at the lowest of the 3 sunrise lakes, and this was where I had intended to end up today, because tomorrow I'm going over Cloud's Rest, and this is a great point to start. But as I was descending the ridge, it started to thunder, and black clouds rolled in, and it started to rain, so I came down. Luckily, the rain stopped briefly. I got the tent set up in a nice sheltered place, and then it started to pick up again. I just came down to filter some water. There's one other tent and one tarp were kind of spread out all around the lake, but it looks like I'm going to be spending most of the afternoon and evening in my tent. Looking down into Yosemite Valley, and up on my right is Cloud's Rest. That's my destination for this morning. Today is September 4th, my 10th day on the trail, and I am on top of Cloud's Rest. It's 1,000 feet higher than Half Dome, and I'm looking down on it and right into the heart of Yosemite Valley.
Sorry, are bear cans allowed in here? Bear cans? Yeah, I mean the spray.
It's the morning of day 11. I've been following the Merced River down through the canyon and going to be crossing it on this footbridge. I finished my hike and I'm feeling fine. I'm at Happy Isles in Yosemite Valley. Now, I've been on the trail for 11 days. I camped 10 nights and I walked 97 miles and I saw things of untold beauty. But I couldn't have done it without my family. Not only their love and their support, but they are my eyes and ears on the ground as well. So thanks for coming along with me on this trip. And until next time, it's Mimi signing out.